everybody, and welcome to Cool Sports Guy. I'm Tom. Joining me today is Jarrett, and we are at the Week 10 of the National Football League. How are you doing today, Jarrett?
Doing pretty good. It is kind of disappointing how far into the season we are. I feel like the season has went by a lot faster than normal.
I feel like it feels like that every year. Like it starts and you're just like, it just started. It's gonna get exciting. It is fun. I can't wait till we're like halfway through, and then you're like, oh, there's like 3 weeks left before it's playoffs. So yeah. But you know what? It's only going as fast as we think it is because it is as exciting as we think it is. So I'm glad football's entertaining because, because it's entertaining. But anyway, but hey, here we are, Week 10. We're gonna start doing our picks here very soon. But before we start, make sure to check us out on our website, coolsportsguy.com, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook. All these videos will be available on our sites as well. And get these out of the way. So anything particular you want to add before we start our picks?
Not before we add. I am going to have quite a few talking points, mostly from one particular team that I got to watch last week, but we'll get into it a little bit later.
Is it the Bears?
It might be. We don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we will just jump right into it. So as usual, we are going in week 1. Or I'm sorry, game 1 of the Week 10 NFL. I wish it was back to be week 1. I would have made some money betting on some of these games. All right, so let's see. The very first game, obviously for Thursday night, I had picked up the Panthers and they won. Yay. Did you pick the Panthers?
No, I picked the Falcons. I think Jose also picked the Falcons. So you have a game advantage. We'll see what comes of that.
Listen, the Panthers won the last game. It was taken away from them.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Bucks and Falcons. Are you going to pick the Falcons to beat the Bucks next time they play?
No, but that's very different. The Panthers are a better team.
No, the Panthers are not a better PJ. Okay, listen, PJ Walker is an interesting story, but no.
All right, if you say so, but they just won. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think the Panthers are a better team.
I mean, I'm not discrediting you. That was a good pick. You got a one-up advantage over both me and Jose, so that's pretty solid.
Dude, home game, revenge game. They got one kind of stolen from them last week. So
the black helmets. I'm getting all the credit to the black helmets.
Sure, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the games that are coming up, which is Seahawks at. Well, not at Buccaneers. It's technically in Germany. 9:30 a.m. Eastern game for us Americans at home. So who's first? Is it me?
I believe it is you, yes.
Okay. Well, listen, I mean, why are we doing this dance? You already know who I picked. Oh, hey, Jose picked the Bucks too. So here's the thing. Last week's win against the Rams was such a terrible game from the Buccaneers offense. It really, truly was. And I remember towards the very end of the game, I told you when after Scotty Miller didn't cast a touchdown pass, they went to 4th down. I said they should kick a field goal because they are down. I think they were down 6 points. So they should just kick or maybe it was less than that, I don't remember. But they should just kick a field goal because if they get the ball back, they don't need a touchdown. They can go back and just kick a field goal and they can still win the game. I think the best thing that they did was not kick a field goal. Not because they couldn't get the ball back or whatnot, because that forced them to go get a touchdown at the end. And while 59 minutes and 23 seconds of that game, the offense played so bad, that last 40-second drive, I think that ignited a spark. Now, I don't think it's going to change a lot, but I think it might just change enough. Plus, hey, guess what? The Falcons just lost. Bucks, even with a loss against the Seahawks this week, they're still going to hold the number 1 spot in that division going into the bye week, which is sad, but it's true. But nonetheless, to me, the biggest thing is this game is overseas. It is in Germany. It is on a big sold out stadium. It's on the big stage. Brady's been on big stages and Gino has not. And so we'll see how they bring it. We'll see what happens. Obviously the Seahawks have proven to be a better team than the Buccaneers this season, but come on, it's me. I'm not betting against Brady. And I don't know. Jose just seems to agree with me on a lot of things, so we'll just leave it at that. I'm kidding. That's not why, but still.
I mean, obviously he doesn't, because he's predicted different than us, and hence that's why he's destroying us in the rankings.
He's like 4 games ahead of me. It's okay.
Oh, is he only 4 ahead of you?
I don't know. Something like
I don't
that.
know. The Tom comeback train is on.
Coming back.
I'm only 1 behind you, so maybe I could come back too. Who knows?
Yeah, I was 4 behind you though.
I'm also apparently really bad at this. Hence, you beat me a lot last year, so I just want to get not last. That's my only goal here. But anyways, to get to my pick, so I don't get too off track here. I did not go with the Bucks in this one. I get don't bet against Brady. I have learned that, but at this point,
you haven't. You bet against him like the last 2 games.
Listen, I understand that this is also the worst team I've seen around Brady in recent memory, at the very least. I don't remember like the early 2000s teams or anything. This is a very bad team around Brady. The offensive line's not functioning well. The receivers aren't playing great. He doesn't have a tight end who's like, I don't know, useful. The defense is good. I'll give credit with the defense. And then like even Leonard Fournette, I don't know if I'm going to completely blame him, because if the offensive line doesn't block, there's not a lot of opportunities for him to do well. But that offense is not playing well. Brady himself isn't even playing well. And on the flip side of things with the Seahawks, who are the biggest surprise I've ever seen in probably the entire time I've ever watched football, like it makes no sense why they're playing so good. I literally going into the season, I'm like, I think this is probably the worst team in football. They're going into a season throwing Geno Smith out at quarterback and hoping that fans will actually show up to the games. Shout out to Geno Smith. My guy is playing so well. Like he's playing like an MVP candidate. If you go just based off this season who the better quarterback is, 10 out of 10 times, everyone's going to say Geno Smith has been better than Tom Brady this year. Again, going into the season, that would have been the most, you would have thought someone was high as a kite trying to say that. But Geno has played super well. Kenneth Walker, the rookie running back, who in the mock draft season, I had him going in the first round, and I was like, this guy's going to be a stud running back. He's a stud running back. It's not a surprise there. He's been amazing. I think he was the best running back in his draft class. I liked him more than Breece Hall. And he's played really well. And I feel like he's done a really big part of that team offense doing well. And then, DK, Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, obviously solid. Will Dissly's a solid tight end. The offensive line has played better than it ever played with Russell Wilson in his entire career, which is kind of sad to think about. And the defense
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that might be a Russell Wilson problem, because now the Denver offensive line doesn't look too good.
Yeah, I don't know what Russell Wilson, why he's cursed with this, but yeah, his offensive line can't block for him.
He's just like, guys, let him come through. I'll write it out.
I don't like, I could see this game going either way without a doubt, but I thought that me personally, I was like, I feel like I haven't bet on the Seahawks enough this year, and now is the game I'm going to do it. Given my track record with betting against the Buccaneers whenever Jose specifically picks the Buccaneers is not great. I don't know how much confidence I have in this, but
Jose always picks the Buccaneers.
There has been like one time when he didn't and I didn't, and I think the Bucs lost that game. But every time he picks them and I don't, they win, which you also pick them every time. So I can't really put that into a mathematic equation. But the Seahawks have been really good, and I think that they have an explosive offense, and I'm really excited to see them in this game.
Look, couple of quick points. First of all, look, you can hear a news about a plane crashing, but then still say flying is the safest way to travel. Statistically, that's how I feel about Tom Brady losing a game. Statistically, it's still better to bet on him. Number 1 point. Thought that was a pretty good point. Secondly, you know what sucks is last year when Wilson got hurt and Geno came in and he was playing, and I said, man, Geno's playing really well. And I picked the Seahawks to win a couple of games, and they lost every single one of those games. And I was like, I feel like Geno's doing so well, but then he can't win games. That sucks. And then, of course, this year, he's winning games when I don't pick him. So that's great. I I don't want to get into a whole Tom Brady fight right now, but I do want to say you said Brady's not looking that great. It's hard to look great when your team has one of the most drop passes with the worst running game in the league and the worst offensive line in the league. And yeah, like you said, he does not have a good tight end position either. So it's really limited what you're able to do to begin with. But then people on top of that don't catch footballs. Even the game against Rams, he technically had 2 game-winning drives. Scotty Miller straight up just hit his helmet.
Hit him in the face. Yeah, I love Scotty Miller with those, bro.
And he was wide open. So, but also, I don't know if you remember this. A couple of weeks ago, when you were making a thumbnail, you're like, "Hey, what player should I put on there?" And I was like, "You should put Cade Otton." You know who that is?
The guy who scored the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, he scored the game-winning touchdown. I'm
I
excited
know who
for
Cade
that
Otton
kid.
is.
I'm excited for that kid.
I'm going to point out, we do need to move on because we've been like 10 minutes on this one game.
Yeah, we spent 10 minutes on one game. That's not good.
But one thing I want to add is everything you just described about Brady and how he can't look good with those situations. Justin Fields has dealt with the same crap, and he gets no like excuses. Everyone just calls him a bust immediately. He has an awful offensive line. He has probably the worst receiver group in the league, minus Mooney. Claypool, I think, is going to be solid, but he's only played in 1 game after 3 days of being on the team. And our tight end group hasn't been good either. And Fields has played really well. So, I mean...
Yeah. First of all, I don't think everybody is calling him a bust.
Not now after the last 2 games,
yeah.
but before that, the entire season, it was just, oh, he's a bust. He's bad. He can't...
Justin Fields is doing great. He's also very mobile, and he's young. He can run around. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He's great. The thing is, when I say like, yeah, I'm making excuses for Brady, but you know what? I'm making excuses for Brady after what Brady's done over 2 decades.
I will say I'm not saying that to mean like, oh, Brady's just bad. I do accept that can be an excuse, is the situation around you. But I'm just saying Fields doesn't ever get any credit for like how much he does with how little he has to work with.
He will. He just got to continue and do it, and he will. But yeah, hey, we're at 13 minutes. We gotta
skedaddle.
Germany, baby. Drink that beer.
Guten Tag.
Have you seen Brady chug a beer?
No.
Bro.
I've seen Rodgers chug a beer.
Nope. You gotta Brady.
No, that's a joke. Rodgers chugged a beer at like I think a Bucks game, and he sipped like that much of it, and then was like, "No, I can't do anymore."
Anyway, Lions and Bears. All right, so Detroit Lions, greatest defense in the league, because they got 3 interceptions from Rodgers last week, who never throws an interception. Traveling to their division rival, the Chicago Bears. Your guy, Justin Fields. You know what? We'll take the first 30 minutes of the show talking about 2 games. So we already spent the first quarter of it talking about the Bucks. Now I'm gonna let you rant on about the Bears because the following 30 minutes we're gonna have to go pretty quick. So I'm gonna let you rant. Go for it.
Since I already asked a little bit about Justin Fields, oh my God, is it so good? I have never been this hyped about a Bears team. Listen, I have been a fan since like 2009. We've never had a quarterback who was even close to sniffing the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Cutler was a decent guy. I think he was maybe like around the 15 range, very average quarterback. He had the arm and he had the athleticism, but his decision-making wasn't always the best. Fields has the arm. He has the decision-making. He definitely has the athleticism. And the Bears, in my entire lifetime, have not had an exciting offense that you go into a game and you're like, our defense may hold us back, but our offense is going to put up points. That's never happened. It is happening right now. And it's not like Mitch Trubisky had some hope games, as I call them, where he looked decent and you're like, he has potential to be a good quarterback. But it was always against those bottom feeder teams. His 6 touchdown pass game was against the Buccaneers when they were super bad. Then he always looked really good against the Detroit Lions, who were, the Detroit Lions. Fields in these last games New England, coached by Bill Belichick, who's a defensive mastermind, and like that they always do good against young quarterbacks. He smoked the crap out of them. Then it was against Dallas, who I think has the best defense in the league. I know we didn't win that one, but he played really, really well given all of the circumstances. And then the Dolphins, who I think is definitely the worst of the three defenses there, but they're definitely a top like 12-ish defense, and he still torched them too, and he looked unstoppable against that defense. He's coming into this game against a bottom 5 defense in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. My man is going to absolutely explode for some yards here. I'm so excited. Like, the hope for this team has never been higher. We have, 6 draft picks. We have a first, a second, third. I think the only one we're missing is like a 6th. So we have our draft picks, which we haven't had in the Ryan Pace area because he trades them away for I don't know who. And we have like 130 million in cap space, which players are going to want to play with Justin Fields because he's such an exciting prospect. I'm calling the Bears next year are going to be so good. At least this year, they're going to be a fun team to watch with that offense. And no disrespect to the Lions, I was kind of hoping they would have a good season. They're bad. They're very bad. The Bears should run away with this game without a doubt.
So the Lions actually do have, obviously the Green Bay game was so backwards, but they do have a very high scoring offense. And obviously you're picking the Bears, right? Okay. And also, I don't know if you know this, but the Lions did make some coordinator changes on the defensive side of the ball. And as bad as Green Bay has been looking, they got 2 end zone picks from Rodgers and a third one outside the end zone. I don't remember exactly where that one was. Now, I blame a lot of that on Green Bay offense rather than the Lions defense, but they did make changes at the defensive position. Their offense is still very good, even though they struggled against Green Bay. Look, I think the pick on this game was pretty straightforward. I went with the Bears. I think Jose did too. Yep. And my main biggest thing is I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. You can agree with me or disagree with me, but I don't think the game's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be closer than we think, and but I do think the Bears are going to win.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Bears' defense is probably one of the worst in the league. But Justin Fields is exciting, and let me have my moment of happiness.
All you, buddy.
All you.
Hey! Who called that rushing touchdown last week?
I was
off by like 8 yards.
For the viewers, my boy Tom, I had to work, so I had to watch the game after the fact. So I was like, guys, don't text any spoilers or anything like that. And it was before the game, but he was like, oh, Justin Fields ran for a 70-yard touchdown. And then I was watching the game. I think it was right after halftime he did that. And I saw him. It was a 62-yard touchdown run. And I was like, oh, my God, Tom predicted it.
Called it. That's what I do. You know why? Because I'm coming back. I'm picking everything right.
Honestly, as a Bears fan, for this game, I would not complain if the Bears lost, but Fields had a great game. If we get a great draft pick, I'm not going to complain. It's a win-win situation for me.
I'll take that. Let's see. Moving on. All right. Now we got to speed up the pace. Browns and Dolphins. Browns still, listen, it's in my picks. Dolphins are good. Come on. Tyreek Hill is in the MVP conversation for the right reasons. Tua, since Tyreek's got there, has been playing like freaking Tom Brady. He used to play, I guess. And the Browns are iffy. They're up and down. Some weeks are good. Some weeks they're bad. And the Dolphins are the better team. They're at home. They're going to win. That's all I got.
I like the straightforward. Everyone knows about my absolute hatred for the Cleveland Browns organization, which I will say definitely has some bias into who when I make my picks. But in this game, it's not biased whatsoever. The Dolphins are the much better team here. Tua has been playing lights out. Their offense, I've just been hyping up the Bears offense. This Dolphins offense, I got to watch like firsthand. Against my putrid Bears defense. But it's super exciting to watch. Jeff Wilson, I think, was a great addition. Him and Raheem Mostert do really well in the backfield. Tua's looked great. Waddle and Tyreek Hill are probably the most dangerous wide receiver duo I've ever seen. And Mike Gesicki is a great tight end when it comes to receiving.
I think they're freaking Giants-Dolphins Super Bowl, aren't we?
I would not even complain.
Oh,
I love
God.
the underdog story, but I love this Dolphins team. I think that they could make a run in the postseason. The Browns, on the other hand, I don't care if they get Deshaun Watson. I don't care if like Deshaun Watson is an okay quarterback. I don't think he's elite. I think he's in that good to like not quite great tier, especially because he hasn't played in 2 years. But it's not even Deshaun Watson. It's Jacoby Brissett, who has been very inconsistent this year. I think the Dolphins are a much better team, so I'm going with the Dolphins on this one.
Cool. Jose agrees. So that means Dolphins win. Moving on. Vikings at Bills. So we're not 100% sure if Josh Allen's actually going to be playing this game or not. Seems like it's going to be a game time decision, right? Or a game day decision. Either way, before I found out, this is my pick. So this is a tough one because they're both really good teams, at least this year. Here's the number one takeaway. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins, is not playing primetime game, which means there's hope, which means I win with the Minnesota Vikings to win the ball game. Listen, the game is in Buffalo. It's going to be a tough game. But so far this season, the Vikings have been more consistent and convincingly winning than the Bills have. The Bills, the games they win, well, because the Bills are inconsistent. The games they win, they do convincingly win often, but they've lost 2 so far, and they've come pretty close on 2 others so far. And yeah, I just don't trust the consistency of the Bills. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of can't talk right now, man. Anyway, listen, I had to go with the Vikings. I feel like the Vikings are just going to pull this one off.
Also, in your defense for the whole train of thought thing, it is like 11 o'clock at night when we're recording this after work. So, yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. My thing, I think, honestly, the Vikings haven't been very, I haven't got a lot of confidence in their wins. They're definitely a good team, which I said going into the season. I thought they were a good team. I did have them, getting second in the division behind Green Bay because Green Bay always just seems to find a way to win, which hasn't been the case this year. The Vikings have looked really good. You know, they're 7-1, I believe, at this point, but they always play down to their opponents, which is my big concern. That it's hard for me to have a lot of confidence in them winning any games just because they do play down to their opponents. They haven't really had a convincing, dominating win that I can think of up to this point. The Bills, I know if Josh Allen doesn't play, or even if he does play, he's going to be very hurt. It's not a very promising sign for the Bills. But I think with the Vikings playing down to their opponent and the Bills, I think, are just that much better of a team. Not to mention they're coming off of a loss. And, great teams always play better coming off of losses because it kind of gets them oh, we're beatable. We got to step it up. We got to stop playing down to our opponents. I think that the Bills are going to be at that point, and so I went with the Bills on this one.
Fair enough. What about Jose? Huh? Okay. Guys, I'm just saying, if this is the week I make a comeback,
if you
don't just come on here and appreciate me. You better bow to me on the next episode.
At this point, I do want you to come back just because Jose's had it too easy with the dominating win since week 1. Yeah. Someone needs to put him in his place. All right.
This week is either gonna bury me under or just crown me the king for the rest of the season.
I feel like me and Jose agreed on every pick except the Bucks one, so I can't really come back.
Cool. Let's see. Jaguars and Chiefs. For whatever reason, it's your pick. Go ahead.
I'm kind of excited what you're going to say. This one pains me because I think it was week 3 or 4. The Jaguars were looking really good, and I was already ready to crown Tom as a mastermind for picking Doug Peterson as coach of the year. They just kind of they haven't played bad per se, but Trevor Lawrence has definitely taken a step back. I don't mean in an overall career standpoint, he took a step back this year. He started off the year good, and then he's kind of slowed down, which I don't really know why, to be honest.
Slowed up. That's a term now.
Again, 11 o'clock at night. We're good. But Trevor Lawrence, I think, is good enough to come back from that, and I would definitely think he's the second best quarterback in the draft class. So, he definitely has some talent there. But the Chiefs, I think, are just too good of a team right here. I honestly think that the Chiefs, the Bills were like the undisputed, best team in football, best team in the AFC. They've looked really beatable as of late. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have looked dominant. And I think that the Chiefs, at this point in time, might probably mark as the best team in football. And I think if the Jaguars were playing pretty much anyone else, I would give them much better of a chance. But I think the Chiefs are too good, so I went with Kansas City here.
So listen, the reality is it's very hard to pick against Kansas City in any game, no matter who they're playing. They're probably the scariest team in the National Football League right now. Mahomes is probably the best player in the game currently, right? So yeah, of course I went with the Chiefs, and I'm sure Jose went with the Chiefs too. Yeah. That being said, for whatever reason, I was very close to picking the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I don't know why. It was one of those like gut feelings. It was just like, hey, just pick them; they'll win. It might slightly be because they won this last week, but you know what? They came back against the Raiders, so I don't think it counts because it seems like these days everybody's coming back against the Raiders. But that being said, the Chiefs, on the other hand, man, they struggled against the Titans defense last week. And I think if Ryan Tannehill played last week, the Titans would have won that game. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is a great quarterback, but I think Malik Willis is so raw of a prospect that they really didn't even let him play quarterback.
Nope.
Which definitely hurt their chances.
Listen, even in overtime, when the Chiefs got the ball, they went and kicked a field goal. So I legit think that last week, if Tannehill was available, Chiefs would have lost the game. Now, I don't know if Chiefs would have changed up their game plan and, tweak something out because Titans are scoring more points. We have seen that happen before, but that was rough to watch. But hey, they still figured out a way to win the game. So I will give them credit there. I think Jaguars will actually put up a pretty good fight. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah, the Jaguars very much. It's like however Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I get that most teams is how their quarterback plays is how good of a game they have. But Lawrence, his biggest problem is like turnovers. I feel like if he, it's usually fumbles. It's not even interceptions. He just fumbles the ball quite a lot. That will result in turnovers. If he can limit turnovers, I think they'll definitely make it a very competitive game.
When you have a good team, hey, you don't need to win us the game. Don't lose us the game.
Yeah, which also, to give you credit, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on there, but it does say Jithan saying that he said, quote, in the text, Chiefs over Jags, parentheses, kind of want to pick Jags. So I am giving him his credit there. I mean, if the Jags win, he gets nothing, but I'll give him his dignity.
Yeah, I feel like you just kind of put that out there because you're so confident the Chiefs are going to win. And when we come back, you can be like, I remember when you texted me saying that you almost
No, I know. Jags. Like, I think that the Jags, because obviously underdogs win. It's not always the best team wins. And honestly, if I was to go through with all of these and look at the underdogs, that would be one of the underdog games I would pick to win.
Fair enough.
I'm giving you credit, okay? Just take it and don't take it as an insult.
I appreciate it. The New Orleans Saints traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, who, by the way, Steelers hasn't had the best luck so far this year. Probably the worst year Mike Tomlin's had. And obviously Saints owner Dennis Allen is struggling just a tad. So do I go first year? I do go first year. I went and decided to say, you know what? I'm going to put some faith in the defense. And the defense I'm going to trust is the Steelers defense. I don't know why. Again, a couple of these games, most of these games, kind of went with the underdog story. I don't really have a particular reason other than, hey, this is what my gut is telling me. So I just did it. It was the same thing with the Vikings, even though it's not that big of an underdog story. This one is a tad bit more. The Saints are too inconsistent. The Steelers have one problem, and that's for the most part their quarterback play, but they do have the defense. They still have Mike Tomlin there as a head coach, and I don't see him losing that many games. And I think if they're going to get a win at home, this is one of the games that they can squeeze out. And so I had to go with them.
Again, I do think this is a good underdog pick. I did not go with the underdog here. I do agree the Saints are very inconsistent, and that makes them a hard team to pick. I do feel like every time I pick them, they lose, and every time I pick against them, they win, which is a pain. Um,
Thank
the
you.
only time I think I've gotten it right was when they played the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, where I mean, they lost that one.
Yep.
I think I picked the Saints in that one, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't ever pick them right. The Saints, I don't know. And then I
You
picked
mean
the
the game?
Raiders to
There
beat
was
them,
like
and then it
3
looked like the Raiders were going to
interceptions.
beat them, and then it didn't happen. I don't know. But my thing here is quarterback is such an important position, and I don't want to hate on the kid too much. I say kid. I think he's probably older than me. Kenny Pickett. He has not been great this year, which I don't think he was like a pro ready quarterback to begin with. I don't think there should have been a scenario where he started this year. And he hasn't looked good. Mitch didn't look good at the beginning of the year. They also, Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator. I know it's not just my opinion. A lot of Steelers fans think he's like the worst coordinator in football, which any team who loses is like, oh, we have a bad offensive coordinator. That's why. It's just how it happens. But I do definitely think he's a bad coordinator. They haven't had good quarterback play. Najee Harris, who somehow he's been awful this year. I'm not going to lie. He looks like Trent Richardson 2.0. He hasn't been able to find holes. He's been too he hasn't really committed to to just picking a hole. He just kind of like hesitates too much. There was a play against, I think it was the Eagles that comes to mind. He caught the ball like on the sideline, and he's a big dude. He's a big power running back. And there was like no one between him and the first down, which was like 4 yards. But he like hesitated until they like gang tackled him, and he didn't get the first down. Like, I don't know what's happened to Najee Harris. He did go like 4th overall, I think, in our fantasy league, which I think is funny because whoever picked him definitely did not make a great choice. But Najee hasn't looked good. They lost Chase Claypool to the Chicago Bears, and now he's going to be an elite receiver now that he's in Chicago. But Deontay Johnson's had a rough year too. George Pickens, who everyone loves for some reason, even though I think he's a mediocre receiver at best at this point in his career. I don't know. I guess he's funny to watch, but they don't have a good offense. Their defense has been lacking this year, which they've been missing TJ Watt. It makes sense. They've been lacking, but their defense hasn't been that great. I do think they are the better coach team with Mike Tomlin, which definitely means a lot. But I think just overall talent standpoint, I would go with the Saints. So I did go with the Saints to win this game.
Well, I just want to make a quick point on the
But to flame me, aren't you?
the what?
But to like insult me on my take or something?
No, absolutely not. I was just gonna say real quick on our fantasy pick or fantasy draft. I don't know how this is happening. Somehow last week I had 2 players on IR because I forgot to set my lineup, 1 on a bye, and I had Aaron Rodgers who threw 3 interceptions, and I won. I don't know how this keeps happening. I keep winning. I'm like 6-2 at this point, and you know what? Or maybe
you're 7-2.
7-2. I'll take it. I don't know how, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you want to hear some crap? See, you do that and you win. I put up like 150 points and I lose every week, which I almost lost this week because I started Herbert over Justin Fields, and Fields was the QB1 this week with 46 points.
We got to talk to you about that Herbert trade because Rodgers might be benched soon, and my backup quarterback was Matt Ryan, who is now a backup quarterback. So
yeah, if you want Herbert, make a deal. My ears are open. Listen, I'm so far behind at this point anyways. I'm going on the Fields train the rest of the year.
I will give you Chris Olave.
I'm going to need more than Chris Olave. But
come on, man.
But I like Chris Olave. You can include him in the deal. You know I have a soft spot for my boy.
Fine. We'll think about it. I don't know if I can promise you Chris Olave. He came back last week doing it for me. So
Chris Olave I love him so much, bro. I wish he was on the Bears.
We're gonna move on. All right, Broncos at Titans. I don't even remember who I picked in this game. Do I?
You don't know?
It's you. I don't remember who I picked in this game.
Well, I went with the Titans because the Broncos are
Look at
hot
that.
garbage.
Look
Which
at that.
the Titans, I get, like haven't been great either, mostly because Malik Willis, I think, has the potential to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He has a insanely strong arm, and he's a hell of an athlete, but he is definitely not pro ready, and I think that brings them back. But I cannot, in a right mind, pick the Broncos to win any week with Nathaniel Hackett as head coach.
That insanely strong arm threw a lot of out of bounds passes last week against the Chiefs.
I'm saying he has the arm, he has the physical arm talent to be a pro NFL quarterback. But he was the kind of guy you had to draft and let him sit for at least a year, probably 2+ years, for him to be an NFL caliber quarterback. He's gotten thrown into the spotlight because Tannehill's hurt, which kind of scares me. But they do have Derrick Henry, who's basically impossible to stop. The Russell Wilson hasn't looked much better than Malik Willis has this year. Russell Wilson has been bad. And I just can't in right mind pick the Broncos, so I picked the Titans here.
Listen, I don't blame you a bit. I actually went with the Titans, and so did Jose. By the way, love the picture. Great job.
You're gonna love another one later that I found.
The only thing I want to say is Russell Wilson do tend to win the game right after Pete Carroll calls him out. And Pete Carroll this last week, for absolutely zero reason, it was like he forced his way into calling out his old quarterback. I don't know why he went that direction, but he did. I don't know. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos pull one off here. But man, yeah, the Broncos have sucked this season. And look, Titans, they won, I think, 5 straight before they just lost to the Chiefs last week. And they lost to the Chiefs in overtime by 3 points.
I think the Titans,
they're not a bad team.
I thought the Colts were going to run away with this division. I was not very high on the Titans going into the year, but they have definitely surprised me.
I will say the beginning of the season, I wasn't feeling too good about my comeback player of the year. But if Mr. Henry keeps up the pace, I might have a shot.
You did have Henry, yeah. You definitely, out of the 3 of us, if we were going to pick a winner out of that, it would definitely be you.
Yeah.
Which, if our people don't win the awards, I think we should do a little something where we do who was the closest out of the 3. Which you definitely win that one because my pick is a backup quarterback.
And you know who just got a goal line interception last week? My defensive rookie pick, Hutchinson, for the Detroit Lions.
Oh.
I'll take it.
I'd say we're neck and neck on defensive rookie, though.
Guess who I picked to be MVP?
You picked Mahomes.
I picked
my
Mahomes.
Pick was looking great up until now, but
I don't want to talk about all my bad picks.
We've definitely had some bad ones.
So we're gonna move on.
Just who did Jose pick for MVP?
Oh God, it was something dumb, wasn't it?
Matthew Stafford.
Oh God. I feel better. I do. I feel a lot better.
If I'm ever sad, I just think about Jose's MVP pick, to be honest.
I'm going to give you one worse. Who did Jose pick to be in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. No, Jose, thank you for making
I don't think Jose's picked the Broncos once.
I don't think he has either, to be honest. Not even week 1 against the Seahawks.
We love him. That man is special. We're gonna move on to the next game. Colts at Raiders. All right. So listen, Raiders are probably the worst second half team in the National Football League. Whenever they go up 17 points, you better worry. That being said, guys, we have a backup quarterback with an analyst as head coach playing this Sunday. I got the Raiders. Come on. Maybe Jeff Saturday is the right choice. I don't know, but if this whole thing feels weird.
Yeah. So there's a guy I follow on Twitter who tweeted out this week. He said, and it was something along the lines of we're getting to that point in the NFL season where there's games that literally don't matter anymore. And he just posted a screenshot of Colts versus Raiders. Yeah, I don't like picking the Raiders anymore because they're such a disappointment to me. But like you said, the Colts, they have, Sam Ellinger, I think could be a backup quarterback, but he's not a starter. And Jeff Saturday was it was out of blue. I was in class when Frank Reich got fired, and then I came out of class, got in my car, and I went on my phone, and it was like Jeff Saturday hired as head coach. I'm like, this has to be a joke. Like that
Which,
has to be a
by
fake
the
tweet.
way, I'm sorry to cut you off, but by the way, him getting fired
Oh
just
no.
sounds so political to me.
Frank Reich, he got scapegoated. Frank Reich is a good coach. I think he'll get a head coaching job this offseason. He's a
Hope
good
he gets a
coach.
head coaching job,
He's a
man.
good coach. They've
If
literally the GM, if anybody should should be scapegoated here, he's constantly giving him quarterbacks out of retirement homes to
I
try and win Super Bowls with. Like he's going to do anything with that.
I like Lovie Smith, but if he wasn't here, like if it wasn't with Houston, I would say, bro, take him.
Frank Reich is a good coach. I will
Yeah.
stand by that. I like Frank Reich as a coach. If the Bears didn't have a head coach right now who I really, really liked, I'd be like, oh yeah, go get Frank Reich. He's a good coach.
You got old man Philip Rivers. You got, Carson Wentz, who was like less reliable than an 80s Ford. And then and then you got freaking Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan, but he might be done.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, a lot of his mistakes this year, like when it came to turnovers, you could tell it was more on the quarterback than the coach because it was just bad decision making. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, bad play. It was bad decision making that led to interceptions. I know you love Matt Ryan, but he definitely seems like he father time caught up to him this year.
No, that's what I just said. Like I love Matt Ryan, but I think he might be done. And he should be done because he's at that age, he's had a really good career. Dude, he's top 10 in passing yards all time. Like the man was great, right? He almost won a Super Bowl. I don't even blame him for the Super Bowl. Like if a couple of play callings just was appropriate for where the heck you were on the field, they would have won that Super Bowl. I don't know, but I think he should be done.
To
Um,
mention one more thing about Jeff Saturday, I
yeah,
saw this thing. I don't know if you know this. So he didn't really get like interviewed per se, but Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, texted him during the game last week. Again, was that against New England? And was like just asking him questions like, "Oh, what would you do in this situation?" Blah blah blah. And that was the interview. Was him asking him questions during the game. It wasn't even like an official interview. Jeff Saturday said, "I was shocked I got the job." If that's the situation you're in when you get your head coach, like Jeff Saturday, he could be a great coach for all we know. But that's not a good situation to be in to get him as your head coach.
this is some Ted Lasso stuff.
Yeah, this is
Hey man, if it works out, it works out. I guess.
He's
Happy
a
for
brilliant dude, and
yeah.
he's like been around the
I'm happy
league for a
for Jeff
while, but
Saturday.
like it makes no
It's
sense.
just none of this makes any sense. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm assuming you picked the Raiders. Or wait, who do you pick then?
I did pick the Raiders.
Okay.
There was no way I was picking the
Why
Colts.
does one picture look darker than the other two?
I don't know. I literally copied and pasted from that one to the other two, so
This
I
is
don't
very
know.
interesting.
I don't have an answer for you.
I love this. All right, cool. Moving on. Cowboys and Packers. Ooh, talk about an underdog story.
There's
Is
no
it me?
underdogs.
It's you.
Listen, we already know where you're going because of how you said that. So we'll just.
Oh,
There's
okay.
no underdog story. The Packers are bad.
How is this not an underdog story? If
Because
the
you have to
Packers
win
are
for it to
bad,
be an underdog story.
if the Packers are bad, they are the underdogs.
Okay, if the Packers somehow manage to win this game, I don't even know what I'll do. I'll give you a deal for Justin Herbert if the Packers win this game.
Yeah, I'll give you the worst player that's on bench or IR, and you give me Justin Herbert.
I don't know
Because
about
that's
all
where
that.
you're gonna have Justin Herbert for the rest of the season.
Listen,
just give him to me. What are you gonna do with him?
Okay, but that's collusion, and we can't do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll trade you. The player on IR. I'm kidding.
Justin Jefferson, Justin Herbert, Justin for Justin. Let's go.
We'll talk about it. Listen, the point is, here's the thing. Why am I picking the Packers? I don't know. The Cowboys are really good. The Packers are really bad. But you know what? You're like, see one of those teams and you're like, they're due for a win. And I feel like the Packers are due for a win.
I mean,
And
they
it's
haven't lost 5 straight since Rodgers has been quarterback. I don't think like ever. So yes.
correct. Rodgers have lost once. 5 straight in general. Yes. They've lost once to the Cowboys, which was a regular season. First year Dak and Zeke took over, which I believe was 2016.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember that when they went to the playoffs, I actually gambled some money and I bet it on Packers. I said, man, he's gonna win it. Like now he knows what he's up against and he's gonna win it. And they won that game. Rodgers have owned the Cowboys, even though he's owned the Lions. I get it. They lost. So if I am gonna pick the Green Bay to pull a win out of their butt, I would choose the Cowboys game. I think he's gonna bring it, and I think he's gonna bring it hard.
See, my thing, I don't like. I know there's like there's always the situations where people come to pick games. They're like, oh, well, this team has a so and so career record against this team. I don't. I know it makes sense, but I hate when that's like just the context. I'm not like completely hating on your pick for that reason, but I feel like people use that as more of a reason than anything. But it's like, well, these are completely different teams, so it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah, but the baseline, like Aaron Rodgers is still there at Green Bay. Dallas still has Zeke. Dallas still has Dak Prescott.
Yes, but I don't know. Rodgers has been bad this year.
He has. I'll give you that. He has.
I don't know. Maybe he stopped doing his drugs before every game, and now he can't play. I don't know.
It's every season. Okay, there's a difference, but maybe he's taking it so often the effects are wearing out a little. He needs to up the dose. Simple math. It's okay. Yeah. Look, the Dallas Cowboys defense is really. By the way, I just want to point out real quick. I picked Dallas to be in the NFC Championship game.
I forgot you did. I actually, plugging in my Twitter here, at I think I don't even know what my Twitter handle is, to be honest. But J Rice Sports is one of them, and then I think it's just like at J Rice 11 or something. I don't know. But the point is, I tweeted out literally like an hour before we did this podcast. I was like, I like quote tweeted someone who said like, who is your a team who you think is going to shock people like the rest of the year. And I said, I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to make a run in the playoffs, like a deep playoff run. If not, they could make a chance at the Super Bowl. This defense has been absolutely shut down. Micah Parsons is without a doubt defensive player of the year so far this year. And like, I know they have had Cooper Rush and Dak both play quarterback, but their offense as a whole has looked really solid this year as well. And I think the Cowboys are a very, very good team. And I know they say like every year is, oh, it's our year. This is probably the best chance they've had for it being their year since like the 90s.
I would say probably since the 2014 Tony Romo led Cowboys. Did Des catch it?
I don't think he did. Listen, I am a Packers hater, obviously. Des didn't catch it. I stand by that.
Okay, real quick. We don't have a lot of time, but I just want to point one thing out real quick. For everybody who complains and say Des did catch it, let's pretend like Des did catch it and Cowboys gets a touchdown. You're going to leave 2 minutes on the clock for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
you know how many times Aaron Rodgers has faced 2 minutes against the Cowboys defense? Multiple times. You know what's happened every single time he does that? They've lost the game. Well, Rodgers have won. Cowboys have lost the game. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but my thing with like the Des catch is he like caught it, but then you like hit it against the ground and the ball popped up. You're using the ground to catch the ball. That's an
that was not a catch.
But anyway, yeah, we can move on. I don't know how many games we have left, but
yeah, I think we got like 3, so it should be pretty quick. Real quick point. I know we're gonna talk about the game coming up with after this. I'll bring it up. Cardinals at Rams. So Matthew Stafford might not be playing.
He got put into concussion protocol.
So that means he's out.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's weird. It's not been confirmed yet. I think it would seem like he would be, but not confirmed is all I'm going to say.
Well, that sucks because as terrible as the Rams have been this year, I actually chose the Rams to win the game because you know who else have sucked this year? The Cardinals. The Cardinals
Um,
are very inconsistent. Yeah, they've come back and they've done some crazy stuff in some games, but overall, man, I have no faith in that game. Plus, guess what? You're at the second half of the season.
I
You
was
know
gonna
what
say
that means.
you took my line away.
Yeah, I got the Rams winning this game. Hopefully Stafford plays. I think Cooper Kupp will be a little healthier than he was last week coming into this game. And I'm sure they didn't expect to lose the game last week. I don't think they expected Bucks to go right down the field and score, and I don't think they're going to take it lightly. And if they have any shot at this point of even making a wild card spot, they better beat their division rivals here.
I kind of like how you are with the Bucks. I am with the Rams, so we can just go ahead and pop that up there. Cooper Cup's my boy. I love Cooper Cup. I think that the Rams. I definitely think that they're more so an average team than anything this year. They're definitely not as good as they were last year. I think that has a lot to do with quarterback play. Matthew Stafford has been abysmal this year for I don't know what the reason is.
Yeah, he's missing some wide open throws.
He's just been bad, like straight out or flat out bad, and I don't know why. But the Cardinals, like you said, it's the second half of the year, so they're obviously going to be bad. And you know, since the new Call of Duty came out, Kyler Murray is now 0-2. We know how Kyler Murray is when it comes to Call of Duty, and I think it's going to continue on to 0-3. You're mixing Call of Duty with the second half season Cardinals. That's a recipe for disaster, and I think the Cardinals are going to lose this, so I went with my Rams.
I wonder if the production team of Call of Duty is, in fact, maybe a 49ers or a Rams fan. So they could just be like, all right, let's take Kyler out of the game. Moving on. Chargers at 49ers. All right. Another one, tough one. Listen, maybe wait 1 week on the Justin Herbert trade, but I'll let you talk first.
So I did not know where to go with this game. The Chargers have been very, very disappointing all year. Herbert has ruined my fantasy team on multiple occasions. I know I'm hyping him up for the trade, but
You're a bad salesman.
I know I am. That I like he's definitely been better as of late, but there was like whenever he got that rib injury at the beginning of the season, he like looked rough for like a few games because there was like the game he got hurt, the Jaguars game, and the one after that, he was just flat out bad.
Bench the damn guy.
I think he's definitely going on that uphill. But the 49ers, I did not like going into the season. I'm not going to lie. And I know it was one trade, but that McCaffrey trade, I loved when it happened. I was like, that's going to be such just like, that's going to make their offense absolutely explode. And I love the move. And it made me really tough, like decision to who I was going to pick. I actually went with, I think they're technically, I would say the underdog in this game, but I went with the Chargers in this one.
Nice. Well, I'm glad we have. Hey, you know what? This might be the week with the most disagreements. I love it.
Well, mostly due to you with the underdogs, but yeah.
Well, guess what? Here's another disagreement. I had to go with 49ers, and so did Jose for all the right reasons. First of all, the game is at San Francisco. Yeah, the Christian McCaffrey trade. Look, they have a really good defense, and Justin Herbert better protect those ribs. They have mostly a good offense. Jimmy Garoppolo is either throwing for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns or stepping out of his own back end zone. So we'll see which one he brings this week. But nonetheless, I have more faith in the 49ers overall as a team at home than the Chargers. So I had to go with the Chargers. Justin Herbert is starting to play well. And when I said bench the guy, I don't mean right now. I meant, hey, when your quarterback hurts his ribs and can hardly throw the football, it's okay to bench the guy. Even though he says, Coach, I can play. Like, no, just bench the guy. All right, we got 5 minutes to go through 2 more games, so we're gonna move on. Commanders at Eagles. I think I go first here. Best underdog story ever for the week. First point I'm gonna make is, hey, next time, if Eagles don't lose at any point, the win they're gonna lose is when they play the Cowboys again, because this time Dak Prescott's gonna play and they will win.
They
Look,
also play the Bears, just to mention.
oh, there you go.
I'm
There,
kidding. They're
sure,
going to
yeah.
destroy the Bears, but
Look, Commanders, first of all, ever since Taylor Heineke took over, they look a lot better than they did. They're not perfect, but they do look a lot better than they did with Carson Wentz under center. I think it will not be bright at all to say bring Carson Wentz back as a starting quarterback. He's lost that job. Let's face reality. Eagles, on the other hand, had a pretty close game against the Cowboys, who had a backup quarterback. They were tied at halftime against the Texans, who has one win so far this season. There are flaws to the Eagles. They have gotten by some close ones. Even when they beat the Minnesota Vikings, the only loss Vikings have. The Vikings moved up and down the field on them. Kirk Cousins, unfortunately, threw 2 interceptions in the end zone. One of those, I don't remember. This game could be just outright an upset. It really could. I don't know why. Again, just going with that crazy pick. I had to go with the Washington Commanders. And by the way, this is the first time I'm picking the Commanders to win a game this week or this season.
I honestly think I think I picked the Commanders someone picked them last week or week 8. I think
it was me actually, because Heineke took over. So I take it back. I take my statement back.
But your pick of the Steelers this week, I think, was also the first time anyone's picked the Steelers. I don't remember putting a Steelers logo in the slideshows before. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure no one's picked the Steelers.
Might be. I may have picked them before. We'll see. Continue. Sorry. Okay. I think I picked the Steelers when Mitch was playing for them.
Oh, maybe. We do have to kind of go quickly, so I'll just say this is the logo I thought you were going to like. I'm going with the Eagles here.
That looks like that belongs on a chain.
I could honestly see that, yeah. But,
sorry, continue.
I think the Eagles are a much better team. I get that underdog stories happen and upsets happen, but the Eagles, I just don't have any confidence in the Commanders. I think they're better than I thought they were this season, but the Eagles, I think, are just a better team, and so I was going with the Eagles here. Hurts is going for that MVP trophy.
The higher you are, the faster you fall, the more you fall. Texans and Giants, another underdog story, but I'll let you go first.
We don't gotta do
that. We don't. Come on, guys.
I will say, since I think I have enough time to say this, this is the Texans. Congratulations on your second win, because I have not predicted a single Giants game right this year. Not a single one. So congratulations, Texans. You're going to the 2 wins.
Well, no, listen, considering the Giants record, that's not I don't think that's a clap worthy. That just means you pick against the Giants too often. Listen, and I'm guilty of it, because I kept picking against Daniel Jones, and he's starting to prove me wrong just a little bit. But that team overall, oh my God, they're good. They're good, man. And if somebody's gonna, as much as I picked the Cowboys to be in the NFC Championship game, God, I would love to see the Giants. I really will. But you know what? Do you have anything to add?
I don't think Daniel Jones has definitely proven both of us wrong, but I don't think he's good enough to make them have a deep playoff run. Once you get to the playoffs is when quarterback matters most, and I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy.
Oh, that's fair. I'm not going past the NFC Championship game, because Brady. Anyway. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jared is shaking his head about me talking about Brady going to another Super Bowl, but a lot of people have shaken their head.
As my Super Bowl
people have done that 10 different times before, but we all know what happened. Anyway, thank you so much. Once again, guys, check out our website at coolsportsguy.com, our Instagram, did I just put up 2? Oh, never mind. Our Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic night, and I'll catch you guys next week.
Watch Justin Fields pop off.
Bye.